Welcome, everybody, inside the Bobcats locker room here at the Twin Rinks at Eisenhower Park. Carmine Vetrano with you, and alongside me is the general manager and assistant coach of the Bobcats, Craig DeRemus, and we're here for our first installment of the Bobcats Report. Craig, thanks for joining us here as we get set to start on the 2014-15 EHL season. And before we get into that, let's just take a look at the summer. Really, it was your second summer, but your first in a way of having a home here, the Twin Rinks at Eisenhower Park, 100% completed. You have a chance now to kind of kick up your feet and relax and just recruit and do your thing to get this team ready. Take us through this summer compared to last summer where, again, a lot of it was kind of, fly by the seat of your pants. Really, things weren't, as stable as it was this summer.
I think the most important thing this summer is, and you spoke about it, was having a facility to call home. Being able to get recruits, bring them in the building, show them what was happening here in the locker room, the off-ice facilities with the gym at Institute 3A, the facility, the shooting areas, everything that we can offer as a program. That gave us a huge head start as opposed to last year. Second was just having a year under our belt as a staff. Head coach Kevin Kerr and I, and Scott Murphy, and our video coach Bobby DeRico, having the staff together for a year with some continuity and getting to know one another and what we offer as a program was huge for us in recruiting our players. It was a long summer, not much off-season to go. But I think we did a good job of identifying certain targets, getting them in the building, recruiting them, and then obviously getting them to sign contracts with us for the season.
You talk about having a place to call home. Again, for the player side of things, for them to come in and really have a place to know they're going to practice, to know they're going to have training camp, to know really they're not going to be driving here and there. How big of it for you guys, to recruit those players, as you were mentioning, to have them know that this is their home pretty much the whole season?
It's very important for our guys. I think anytime you talk about a team or an environment, you want structure. And our players have structure this year. We have a schedule. We have our own home building. They know where they have to be when they have to be there. And for us, that's been a huge advantage, just getting started with the season. Obviously, last year wasn't an ideal situation for us, but the guys did a good job of making the best of it, and I think we had a great year. And moving into this year, we were just so excited to have a stable schedule, a stable facility. And this isn't just a regular facility. This is a special place. I think there's a lot of programs that envy us for the ability and facilities that we have to offer our players. So we feel very fortunate. It's called Twin Rinks at Eisenhower Park, our home rink.
Obviously, the goal for any team in this league is to win a championship, but ultimately is to get those players to the highest level possible. And ultimately, it is college hockey. And, for those players that go on to NCAA Division I or III, obviously they have to be replaced. For you and head coach Kevin Kerr and the assistant coaches as well, what were some of the things you guys were looking for this season compared to season in the past to bring in those players to replace the ones that left?
Oh, you bring up a great point. I think when you build a team, you have to have an identity, have a model of what you want to be. And our model clearly here is young players who have Division I and USHL aspirations. We're in a unique situation where we're directly affiliated with a USHL program with our ownership group owning the Muskegon Lumberjacks. And we want to support not only that team but that league. We want players to go from the New York Bobcats to the USHL and then on to Division I college hockey. For us, that's our target. And I think for us that's important to identify early in the offseason, recruit young players who are goal-driven and motivated to get to that level. And it takes a little while because these kids want to play in the USHL, so you're going to have to go through the draft process and the tryout process and the main camp process with them. And we want guys who are just on the cusp of being there, who just got cut or just missed out on the opportunity there, and they come to the New York Bobcats hoping that a year of development or maybe a couple months of development will help them get that opportunity at the USHL level.
Well, you talk about the USHL. Not too long ago, the Twin Rinks here and the Bobcats of Long Island Gulls organization played host to the USHL Atlantic Challenge, the second annual one. It was supposed to be here last year. Obviously, the arena facility wasn't ready in time. It was over in New Jersey. But I know we spoke about it during that weekend. But more towards the Bobcats side of things, it was basically a good preseason, a couple of tune-up games against some EHL teams. What were you and head coach Kevin Kerr looking for from your guys that weekend to kind of gauge on where they're at so far in the preseason?
Well, for our guys, it was a couple of things. It was getting them comfortable in their home environment and playing in front of numerous scouts. Obviously, the place was packed with NHL and NCAA Division I schools. So having that pressure-packed atmosphere for them was important. And for us as a staff was seeing those guys in pressure situations versus league competition. And we think we did a good job. We know we didn't play well against the Oilers in our third game, but aside from that, we thought we had good halves of hockey, gave everybody opportunities to play in different situations. Really what the preseason for us was an evaluation process, see where our players are, see what we're good at, see what we're not so good at, what we need to work on as we head into the EHL play this weekend.
You talk about the EHL play. Obviously, you need players on the ice to put this Bobcat team together. Only 5 returners. Let's talk about the 2014-15 roster now. 5 returners from last year's squad, 3 forwards, 2 defense. Let's talk about the forwards up front: Corey Kennedy, Lucas Brown, and Carlos Ross. 3 guys that have, a different game to each of their play. I mean, Corey Kennedy, a bit of a playmaker. Lucas Brown finds the back of the net. Then you have Carlos Ross, who's just kind of like that Energizer bunny. He's all over the ice. What are some of those characteristics you're looking for from those 3 to build upon and kind of be the leaders?
Well, it sounds like you know our team pretty well. But Corey Kennedy returns as our leading scorer last year, and you hit it on the head. He's a playmaker, great vision, makes everyone on the ice better around him, and is truthfully a lethal hockey player. Can be dangerous in and around the puck in the offensive zone. Lucas is a great two-way center. Plays the game a full 200 feet, plays it hard, plays an honest game. We're hoping Lucas can expand his game offensively a little bit. And Carlos Ross, you hit it on the head. He's got to be an Energizer bunny guy. He's going to run around, have energy, create body contact all over the ice. And truth be told, for Carlos, we expect him to have a much better year offensively for us and complement those first 2 guys very well.
Defensively, Sean Geary and Joey McGuire anchor the blue line. And, Joey McGuire, we were just talking about him not too long ago. He was a guy that heard his name during the USHL draft, during the draft this past spring. You're expecting big things from him, kind of to take over the, the blue line, if you would. And Sean Geary is a guy who, he'll go in the trenches for you. What are, again, some of the things you're looking from those 2 to kind of lead the way defensively?
Well, I think you want to talk about Sean Geary. It's important for us to get Gears back this year. He's a veteran leader on the blue line, makes our skilled players feel very comfortable on the ice, has a good hard work ethic, competes every day for every inch of ice, steady Eddie, stay-at-home type defenseman. And then on the opposite end of that is Joey McGuire. I've said it before, we're going to give Joey every opportunity to be the best defenseman in this league, and we believe he's ready to do so. He's had a great preseason after a great offseason with us. I know he didn't perform as well at some North American League and USHL camps as he had hoped, but he's come into our training camp and been excellent from day one. He really worked hard on improving his game this summer in the gym, and you can tell it's evident out there. He's commanding with the puck. And, the things he's done well in the past, he's gotten better at. His vision's unreal. He's not afraid to lead the rush and join the rush. And another guy who, quite frankly, makes everybody on the ice better around him.
Obviously, the last line of defense, your netminders, this is now the 3rd straight year, your 2nd, where you're going to have 2 different goaltenders in between the pipes. You bring in a guy, Brandon Rathwell, huge, I mean, tons of size. And then you have a guy in Jordan Severo who's quick, more of the agile type goalie. When you were recruiting those 2, what made them, in your mind, Bobcats, and what are you expecting from those 2 netminders?
I think we spoke about it earlier, 2 guys who want to and should play at the Division I level. Brandon, like you said, is a big, raw goaltender who we identified last year with his 18U Clifton Park Dynamo team. Brandon was the backbone of the team, in our opinion, gave that team a chance to win every day, was excellent at the New York State Championships, actually winning a state title, 1-0 in overtime, in which he was clearly the first star of the game. And we were just happy that he wanted to be part of our process this year. Jordan Severo is a kid who I've known for quite so many years now, and Jordan has a good pedigree. He's played good AAA hockey his entire career. Last year was the starting goaltender for the Bell Tower U18 team that advanced to USA Hockey Nationals. And Jordan's a competitor. He's a battler. We love the way he works every day and truly doesn't like to get scored on, even if it's in practice. And we think both those guys have very high ceilings.
A couple other names that jump off this roster. A defenseman like Jacob Basie. I mean, he's a guy that was an OHL draft pick with Sault Ste. Marie with the Greyhounds, and then a forward in Alex Fonseca. He's a guy that comes from a good youth program out in Columbus. He had some time in the North American League. Any other players that maybe fans, Bobcat fans should take a look at the roster and kind of circle?
I think all of our new faces will be exciting for our fans and our organization to be part of. When you talk about a guy like Fonzie, Fonzie comes from a great Columbus Blue Jackets program, and you could tell that they do a good job with their players. He has a ton of skill, a ton of upside, and we're hoping for big things this year. He skates like the wind, has great vision, offensive poise, and we think that we're going to help him get to that next level. Some of the other faces that you want to talk about is a guy like Tyler Bullard coming from that Clifton Park program. Charles Barber, another player coming from that Clifton Park program. When you talk about them two along with Brandon Rathwell, we identified winners. These are kids who have won at every level, and we expect them to do big things. Two other players is Ian Harris, who went to the Tier 3 Nationals last year with his Dells Ducks team, had a great EHL showcase for us back in May, and came aboard right away after the showcase. And then Tyler Peters, who also joins us from way of Canada. Tyler's a big, strong power forward, actually a childhood friend of Lucas Brown, who's on our team, and we expect big things from Tyler as well. He's another OHL draft pick who we think is going to come down here and make a lot of headway with some NCAA scouts.
All right, here we are now, opening weekend in the Eastern Hockey League. I know there were some other games that took place before your opening weekend. Before we get into your weekend against Walpole and Boston, the EHL now in its second year. I know it's a mix of both the former AJA, the Atlantic Junior and Eastern Junior Hockey League teams, but something that just quickly jumps off the bat, two new teams, the East Coast Wizards and the Vermont Lumberjacks, who take over the Washington Junior Nationals organization. Two expansion teams that get two big wins right off the bat against the Monarchs and Boston Junior Bruins. In your eyes, where do you see the EHL right now in year number 2, and where do you see it going moving forward?
I think the EHL has done a great job in their first year as a league, and I think it's exciting when you see new teams like that come aboard and have some good wins first weekend of play. I think it's a credit to them and their organizations and what they've done to identify a good coaching staff and good players. The one thing about our league I like is it's parity. Every team's good. Every game's a game. There's no blowouts. There's no clear-cut advantages going into any weekend. I think you've seen that evident first weekend of the season. Those two programs obviously have worked hard to get to where they are today, and I think they'll be great complements to the other teams in our league. When you talk about the AHL, I think you talk about, again, college placements. I think the league did a good job in year 1, and based on what I'm hearing and seeing early on thus far, I think it's going to be even a better year 2 for our league.
All right, Saturday, you guys hit the road. You take on Walpole, and they're a team you had some success during the regular season. They were in your division, in the Central Division. They now jump and move to the new Boston Division, if you would. They're a team, scrappy team. I mean, they have a very good organization. They had a good past before. They won a couple of championships here and there. Everyone starts fresh, this weekend, with Walpole in New York. What are some of the things that you and head coach Kevin Kerr and the rest of the coaching staff are putting together to come away with the opening night victory?
Well, we know Coach Lounsbury and his staff do a great job preparing the team. Like you said, Walpole's a well-established program that's done a great job in their short history. I think from them we're going to expect an honest effort. They're going to work hard. They're going to be well prepared. Last year, I know we won 3 of the games, but every game was tight and could have gone either way. They do have a lot of returning players coming back. I think they'll be an older, probably a bigger team than us, which is what we anticipate for at least the early part of our season while all players get acclimated to the junior hockey scene. But we have to execute our game plan. We think we have a good plan in place to help combat some of the things they'll throw at us. And we know it's going to be a battle. Every game with them is a battle. We've got 2 well-coached teams, 2 storied programs going at it. And obviously everyone wants to get started on the right foot. So that first win of the season is going to be important. And for us going on the road early, it's going to be a good identity process for us. Who are we? What are we as a program? Can our guys handle going on the road and facing a hostile crowd? We know they have a big night planned for us, opening night there. So we're sure it'll be fun and hopefully come out with 2 points. Sunday,
wrap up the opening weekend. The Boston Bandits, they're a club that knocked you guys out of the playoffs last year. They swept you in the second round of the EHL playoffs, and you only got a chance to play them twice last season. I think both games went into overtime, so it's going to be another close game. How important it is to obviously get that rest right after a late night game on Saturday to kind of get right back at it on Sunday, and what do you expect from the Bandits?
Well, I think Coach Sterling and those guys have done a great job up there with their team. Obviously, the Bandits have been around and done a great job of placing players into the college level. Last year's series was a great series despite us getting swept. I think both games could have gone either way. Just like you said in the regular season, both games go to overtime, each club getting one of the wins. We know they're very good offensively, move the puck very well. We got to hope to get pucks deep on them, make their defense work, go with full 200 feet, and keep them off the power play. They've traditionally done a good job on special teams. I think for us it's important that our boys don't look ahead to getting revenge versus the Bandits. Let's take care of Walpole first and foremost, and then get rested up. And like you said, try to go to Boston and get a 4-point weekend.
All right, best of luck. I appreciate the time.
Thanks for the time.
All right, fans, that was assistant coach and general manager Craig Doremus here joining us on the first installment of the Bobcats Report. For more information about the New York Bobcats, head over to nybobcats.com.